Welcome to this introductory course on global history. We will talk about one of the main questions of global history, that is, how to write the history of the world. I will use the world map as an example for this introductory course, and use the world map to understand some concepts that will be crucial throughout the module. So the world map we currently are used to, and the world map that is especially used in education, corresponds to a projection that was made by a Flemish geographer by the name of Mercator in the 16th century. What Mercator wanted to do is turn the cylinder, turn a cylinder map into a flat map that could be printed in a piece of paper and that could be used in navigation, and geographers, cartographers, and navigators could take this map in a ship and move around the world. That was essentially the objective of Mercator. So his projection allows to navigate on sea and to move quite easily, but it has a few problems with the proportions of the different land masses. So what happens with Mercator's projection is that around the equator, this is the equator, the land masses are quite exact as they are in reality. But as you move away from the equator, as you go to the poles, the land masses become bigger than what they are in reality. So what happens actually with Mercator's projection is that Europe, for example, seems on the map quite larger than Latin America. But in reality, Latin America is twice the size of Europe. So that is one of the consequences of Mercator's projection. India, for example, seems smaller than Scandinavia, although India is 3 times bigger. And the final example, the United States and Canada, or this region of the map, occupies more space than Africa. And in reality, the United States and Canada correspond barely to 2/3 of the African territory. So you can understand that this visual representation we have in our minds of the world isn't exactly what the world really is. Another way to look at this problem, and now coming into concepts that we will discuss throughout the course, is the idea of Eurocentrism. If you analyze the world map critically, you will see that in the center of the map, Europe is represented. And the explanation for this is that the world map was built around the time that Europe was a center of power. So it makes sense that this center was drawn in the middle, and the rest of the world was drawn in other places that mirrored the center of the map. Are there other ways of looking at the world? There are many other ways of looking at the world. One example is Peter's projection. Peter's projection allows for the different land masses to respect their adequate size. So if you see the size of Europe in this projection, it is very small to what we are used to seeing on a world map. And Africa and Latin America, for example, are very big land masses. So Peter's projection shows a map that is a lot more close to what geography really is. But just as Mercator's projection had problems with the proportions of land masses. Peter's projection has a problem with the coasts. So it's not. It makes all the coasts very blurry. So it doesn't have much room for detail. So that is one of the problems of this type of projection. So where are we going to all of this? Let's turn to Mafalda to see a way to analyze the power dimensions that I am trying to introduce by ways of the example of the world map. So Mafalda speaks to Libertad, who is hanging a map on the wall, and says, "Pero Libertad, lo estás poniendo al revés." And the little girl answers, "¿Al revés respecto de qué? La Tierra está en el espacio y el espacio no tiene ni arriba ni abajo." And she continues on, "Eso de que el hemisferio norte es el de arriba es un truco psicológico inventado por los que creen que están arriba, para que los que creemos estar abajo sigamos creyendo que estamos abajo. Y lo malo es que si seguimos creyendo que estamos abajo, vamos a seguir estando abajo, pero desde hoy, San se acabó." And you see Mafalda's face like she's about to throw up. And on the next scene, Mafalda's mother asks, "¿Dónde estabas, Mafalda?" And she answers, "No lo sé, pero algo acaba de se acabarse." So let's see what Libertad was trying to show Mafalda. This is the world upside down, a world map that represents all the regions of the world in a way that we are not used to seeing. And I ask you, why not? Why does this seem so awkward? Why does it actually seem wrong? We have an idea of the world in our heads that is full of history, that is full of reasons why it is the way it is. And one of the objectives of this course is precisely to constantly relate the ideas of knowledge and power. So in this short introductory session, I wanted to convey this notion through the example of the world map, that information or knowledge is always full of power relations. So why the map is the way it is, why the north is where the north is and the south is where the south is because of history, is because of world history, of the way the world is built. Let's finish with a little bit of humor with Calvin and Hobbes. And Calvin asks his father, "Why can I stay up late? You guys can. It's not fair." And his father answers, "The world isn't fair, Calvin." And the little boy just walks away and says, "I know, but why isn't it ever unfair in my favor?"